welcome. This is the AM show. My name is Enimwa Enimado, and we can promise you an absolutely fantastic show today. So the budget series continues, and it's been pretty interesting, hasn't it, over the past few weeks? So much has happened in Parliament. But yesterday, the minority demanded about a 10 million reduction in the roads and highways budget. So we'll see how that goes. Also, we know that there was an appropriation that was put before Parliament yesterday. So we'll have our MPs joining us in the studio this morning, and we'll have all those conversations. And of course, we'd love to take your questions and your thoughts as well. Also, vaccinations. The back and forth about vaccinations. Well, the president spoke about it yesterday, but it was also talked about in Parliament, so we'll definitely bring you that as well. We have Edward Bauer, MP for Bongo, and John Abam Sani, MP for Mpoho, joining us this morning. Promises to be exciting. Also, well, hopefully it will be a drug-free Yuletide. The Narcotics Control Commission is moving to rid the country of illicit drugs. They'll be joining us this morning. We'll have all those conversations. You know how it is when people get excited, and seasons like this, we don't always make the best decisions, but the decisions that you make today will affect your tomorrow. So we'll have that conversation on drugs, staying safe, keeping your children safe, keeping your family safe, and all of that. Of course, we will also have some showbiz for you. But coming up next is the AM news. After that, we'll get into the newspapers. After that, we'll have some sports, and after that, we'll have a lot of fun. So don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course, Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Well, good morning and welcome to the AM News. Our very first story: suspect in the murder of a young lady at Parkoso in Kumasi has been linked to the death of two other women whose bodies were found in the area earlier this year. Nana Bonsu is believed to have lured his victims, mainly commercial sex workers, to his hideout and succeeded in robbing and in some cases killing them. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko was in the Parkoso community 2 days after the incident and now reports.
The Parkoso town is shaken by the gruesome murder of a 27-year-old mother of two. These two carpenters got wind of the crime, chased down the suspect and arrested him. She was screaming, "Ah, ah, ah." And I saw the young man throwing bricks at something 3 times. For a moment, I thought it was a snake until I saw his clothes soaked in blood. We rushed in, chased him, and arrested him. The victim was later identified as Samira Farouk and a mother of 2. Omar Farouk is her father.
Hospital. I don't know. Hospital.
There are conflicting reports on the condition of the suspect, whether dead or alive. If this were to be a lawless state, we would have lynched him as well. But we have laws, and I want justice. As her friends seek justice for her, residents of Parkoso, where she was killed, want a probe into the death of other women whose bodies were found under a canopy of trees a few meters from the suspect's home.
2 months,
Barely 2 months ago, a body was picked from that forest. We hear stories of women being stabbed and killed here. He's a criminal, and with his latest act, we believe he's behind these killings. We are scared. You can't use this road after 6 p.m. He robs people of their belongings on this road, close to the forest. He was arrested once and given some hot slaps. If he's the one behind these crimes, then it's a bad thing.
Now we are told that all the bodies found in this canopy of teak trees were women. I have with me here somebody who has stayed here for some time and has been part of the local watchdog committee.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Jumano, Abwa community no. And it's
We should have a watchdog committee to improve security here. If only authorities will register and give us ID cards. We are volunteering. We are ready to work to boost security here. But without the ID cards, we can't work. Suspect is still in police custody as investigations continue. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Parkoso, Ashanti region.
Now, in the face of COVID-19, many countries have been forced to go paperless, especially the health sector. But can we say life in the health sector has become easy in the advent of electronic health or e-health? A study in Ghana has found individuals in the private sector are more likely to adopt the concept of e-health than government institutions. On Tech Thursday, Joy News' medical reporter Dr. Neta Pasram has been finding out more.
E-health is defined as the use of technologies, education, and data to support point-of-care clinical services operated by clinical teams as well as patients in order to support self-management. This method of seeking advice and managing patients has its pros and cons, especially in developing countries. The study sought to identify factors that were influencing the adoption of electronic health in Ghana. The investigation, which involved 1,640 people, found individuals in the private sector are more likely to adopt the concept of e-health than government institutions. The study also found tertiary or referral facilities and people of younger age groups tend to appreciate and grasp the concept of e-health better than the older generation. Again, being female and having a higher education play a major role in the adoption of e-health devices among health professionals or managers. Ajina Kesitechi of the University of Ghana is lead researcher.
It was found in the study that most of the professional characteristics that influence e-health adoption have a low to moderate influence on actual adoption. In fact, specifically, the study found out that professional factors such as being a female, being young, and having a higher education, and having spent several years in the professional role were significant in influencing the adoption of e-health devices and systems among healthcare professionals and managers.
The researchers recommended that the main health body of Ghana, Ministry of Health, should put in place systems and measures to ensure continuum of care for patients, even on the e-health. They should also enact laws to enroll our e-health into our public and private sectors, and also incorporate the use of ICT-related health staff in the tertiary institutions.
In this case, the gender of the healthcare provider, the age of the healthcare provider, the number of years he has worked, and as to whether he's working in a private institution or not. These are factors that need to be taken into consideration before any adoption could be instituted that can work or is successful.
Dr. Netta Pashram reporting for Joy News.
So the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is forming a road safety advisory group which will include a variety of stakeholders in the fight against road accidents. Metropolitan Chief Executive Samuel Pine says this is part of efforts the Assembly is making to improve safety in Kumasi. He spoke at the launch of the first ever KMA Road Safety Report 2020 in Kumasi.
A total of 577 persons were killed in road crashes between January and November this year in the Ashanti region. The figure indicates a 16% increase over 2020's, which stood at 496.
These actions, if implemented effectively, will help to improve safety on Kumasi's roads. Findings from this report will inform continuous interventions to reduce crash-related deaths and injuries in the city, guiding the activities of stakeholders in road safety to deliver on their mandate. I expect the contributions at the city level will supplement national efforts, prioritize road safety. I hope that the strategic action taken by KMA to reduce road deaths and injuries will encourage stakeholders at this local and national level to continue supporting these efforts. As we like this report, I urge all governmental and non-governmental stakeholders, institutions, and everyone concerned with road safety in the city to use this report to guide the ongoing development, implementation, and evaluation of road safety action at the city and municipal level.
The report is part of road safety reports launched in 30 cities in the world by the Bloomberg philanthropists. Ghana was selected as one of the 15 beneficiary countries. The report enlightens stakeholders on the magnitude and risk of road traffic deaths and injuries. It also seeks to improve city vehicular management and also inform the best aids to mitigate the crisis. Mrs. Claudia Timpapo is a Road Injury Surveillance Coordinator, KMA, Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety.
Collisions and head-on collisions constituted the highest number of fatalities. Again, we can see clearly that pedestrians are the ones that are bearing the brunt of these road deaths. Okay, that's a whole lot compared to everything else. Very staggering. When we look at deaths by road user and causal vehicle type, we can see that cars and pickups cause the highest number of pedestrian deaths, followed by buses and minibuses. So you see why I think ASP mentioned it, that it's not just education that should be for the buses and minibuses, but also for private vehicles, private drivers, because looking here, they kill more people than even the bus and minibuses.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Meanwhile, the northern region has recorded 148 cases of road crashes from January to mid-December. 37 of these cases were fatalities, 45 life-threatening injuries, and 33 minor injuries. Northern Regional MTTD Commander Superintendent Mahmoud Yusuf has been speaking with our correspondent Martina Bugri.
The Northern Regional MTTD Commander Superintendent Mahmoud Yusuf, who shared this data with Joy News, said the region recorded a reduction in cases of accidents compared to last year.
The department recorded a total of 148 cases, and with this figure, we are looking at it from the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and a greater part of the last quarter. So for the first quarter, the department recorded a total of 11 fatal cases, then 17 serious cases, and 15 minor cases. This add up to 43 cases that were reported for the first quarter. Then the second quarter, we recorded 15 cases, which were fatal, 17 serious, and another 17 minor. That add up to 49. Then for the third quarter, we recorded 11 cases, 16 minor, cases. I mean, the 11 were all fatal, then 8 minor cases, and this is sum up to 35. Then for the last quarter of the, I mean, as I indicated, from a greater part of the last quarter, we had 49 fatal cases were recorded, 11 serious cases were recorded, and 1 minor case, and this also sum up to 21. From the records available, there's a significant reduction in the road. Well, in terms of the fatalities, there's a significant reduction, but from my point of view, I still regard that as not good enough.
Even though the northern region recorded a reduction in cases of accidents, they are leaving no stone unturned to ensure an accident-free Yuletide. As part of activities to reduce the carnage on the road, the Northern Regional Road Safety Authority has launched a campaign dubbed Stay Alive as part of activities to reduce accidents in the area. Addressing the media at the launch, the manager for road safety for the Northern Region and Savannah regions, Mohammed Abdul Summit, said human error accounts for 90% of road crashes in the area.
We have human error constituting more than 90% of road traffic crashes, RTCs. The Stay Alive campaign adopts a human factor model, HFM, which puts the human being at the center of the interaction, the components that surrounds him or her in the road transport environment, that is the road and the vehicle. The truth is that road traffic crashes are man-made and not one accident.
The Northern Regional Police Commander, COP Timothy Yosabunga, said there has been a collaborative effort with major stakeholders in the fight against traffic accidents, and that has yielded a lot of good results.
If you remember, or if you cast your mind back some few months or weeks back, we had a team that came out to enforce some of the basic road regulations. We know we have a good number of motor riders in the region, and crash helmets has been one area that riders don't want to comply. And these 3 bodies came together to enforce it. And it has yielded a very positive result for the region.
Now, cybersecurity advocate Cyber Ghana wants to hone the skills of senior high school students and their counterparts at the university to create jobs for them after school. The organization says this is the surest way to deal with the rising unemployment challenge. The organization has established cybersecurity laboratories in some universities and senior high schools to train and equip the students with skills for the job market. Richard Kojo-Nyako has more for us in this report.
According to Cyber Ghana, they are training students from the country's senior high schools and the universities in the field of cybersecurity and emerging technologies, and this is being done to hone their skills for the job market. Already, cybersecurity laboratories have been established in some of the country's senior high schools and the universities. Coordinator of Cyber Ghana, Bright Eduji, says the country could be better off with this approach to deal with the unemployment situation in the country.
Research shows that out of the huge number of students that graduate each year from our universities, only 10% of them get jobs. So the question is, what happens to the 90%? That is why you see that the unemployment rate is increasing. So Cyber Ghana deemed that we have to train our youths, equip them with the necessary skills, and prepare them for the job market. And in so doing, we will cut down the unemployment rate in Ghana. The support we give to these students is not only teaching them in school. So let's say you are a final year student in SHS. Even when you finish school, you are still a member of the cyber club. So we follow you up to the university where you are going. So even in the universities, we have the cyber club in some universities. So you as a member, when you were in SHS, still qualifies you to be a member, even in the university.
A lecturer at the Computer Science Department, Paul Kobnahen, who took the students through the program, indicated the organization is seeking to fill the gaps that exist in the technology world.
I think it's becoming hot cake when it comes to the current state of the world now. Why? because as I listed, now every company is now looking for such people to employ. We keep talking about job after school, job after school. This is one area that we as a country can really hit, and hit so well that will open a lot of job opportunities for these students when they complete. So right from senior high school, they can be encouraged to take up such courses in the university level, and on they go.
The organization says it does all of these training for the students without any charge because they want to develop as many skills as possible for the job market. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejenyako, Cape Coast.
Well, that's it for AM News this morning, but of course the AM show continues, and Elton, will be crossing the road to join me for the news review. Don't go anywhere.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
What do you have for us? Well, in the first place, actually, before we get into the newspapers, your very good friend, the president, spoke last night.
We had a midweek visit in our homes.
Yeah. I remember seeing on the page that people were asking you that, Charlie, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? When they advertised that thing at 8 p.m. and they didn't come in at 8.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. So we had a midweek visit in our homes.
Okay.
And
so what were some of the highlights?
So the highlight is that our borders will remain closed. Full vaccination to and from Ghana, and then also we should adopt or accept the protocols as we go into the Christmas festivities, because we don't want to come out of Christmas with so many cases. Basically that's full vaccination to and from Ghana.
So was this a pre-Christmas address or a pre-NPP delegates address?
I think you can say that probably because of Christmas and the fact that globally, there's more attention being paid to COVID-19 and the Omicron and the vaccines, and then what we need to do to ensure that we don't go into fourth wave. And somebody was saying that we survived first, second, third wave. What is the guarantee that we will not survive fourth wave? What is this noise about fourth wave and the dangers and the precaution and everything? But then also, Europe is cold, so it will give rise to infections going up.
Yeah.
But here in Ghana, and of course in Africa, the fact that somebody wants to take advantage of our situation and say that you guys are not behaving very well, so let me impose these restrictions on you.
Yeah.
We want to do our homework well such that we will not give anybody the opportunity to say things that we do not want. So borders will remain closed, and I'm sure that will be a bad news for folks around the Volta region, border town of Aflao, and then in the Western, they demonstrated against the continuous closure of the borders and the fact that it is impacting on their economic activities.
Yeah.
They were hoping that ahead of Christmas, government will open it so that people will come in and then they can do some business and make some money. But it doesn't appear that.
Well, the thing is, you have to be alive to do business.
Yeah.
So ultimately, staying safe is. But I see how you swerved the delegates conference question.
No, there's actually a directive that they only allow people who are fully vaccinated. In fact, you have to show proof of vaccination, meaning that even if you are an NPP delegate and are going to the conference on Sunday, at the entrance, you must produce your COVID-19 vaccination card before you are allowed into.
Okay.
And same goes for the media who will be covering it, that everybody needs to produce it, otherwise you will not be allowed.
You will not be allowed. Okay.
To the president.
Well, that's good.
But then the key is about vaccination, the hesitation that we are experiencing.
Yeah.
Volta region reported expired doses because people will not avail themselves to be vaccinated. And we've heard people who are of the view that we cannot force people to be vaccinated. So the president spoke about the fact that if you go to the vaccination, it will not force you to vote for the MPP in 2024 if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And for that matter, people should take advantage of it.
Well, we're here. But yeah, definitely, if you're listening to us and you haven't been vaccinated, do try and get vaccinated. It's actually very important.
It is. I mean, I've taken twice already.
Yeah.
If there is an opportunity for
to get a booster shot, you know, why not? Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. All right, so should we get into the news?
Right, so the front page of the Statesman newspaper has it. Let's go for the COVID-19 jab. President Akufo-Addo urges unvaccinated persons time for strict separation of powers. That's the majority leader, I would say, Chairman Sabon says. And there's going to be a showdown in Parliament today. My information that the Speaker will take the chair. The NDC, the NDC, you spoke to Suhini yesterday.
Yes.
He gave you a sneak peek into what
he did about the fact that they were going to turn back the hands of time. Oh, so he's back, is he?
He's back, and he'll be taking the chair later today.
Oh, gosh.
Information is that the NDC may put before him a motion asking that the decision they took to reject the budget should stand. Well, let's see how that goes.
Wow. I'm just saying, like, if that happens...
It will throw away everything.
Yeah.
That is if that motion is admitted, that means they will have to debate it, and then it will be taken through vote. If the MPP is able to produce all their 138, that will be a sure win for them. But if they are not able to produce the 138 of their full strength, then the motion may be won, and then the NDC will have their day. I don't know whether they have all their 138. I'm hearing of childbirth and all those things. So let's see how it goes.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, definitely an interesting day in Parliament today. And of course, we have our friends, members of Parliament joining us this morning. So it'll be interesting we'll get into all of that. You don't want to miss that. Definitely going to be interesting.
Now let's focus on the content of the issues as presented in the Statesman newspaper. President Akufo-Addo says whilst the government is making the effort to secure the necessary numbers of vaccines to help vaccinate all Ghanaians against COVID-19, we cannot afford to disregard the social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, and enhanced hygiene protocol that have brought us this far. He said getting the jab is the best route out of the pandemic, explaining that according to the World Health Organization, vaccination reduces the risk of death, hospitalization, and the spread of the virus. It is for this reason that we have committed ourselves to vaccinating some 20 million Ghanaians, that is the entire adult population, by the end of the year. I don't know if this target is still achievable under the circumstances. Now, after the start of an impressive vaccination drive in March this year, we were confronted with vaccine supply constraints and disruptions at a global level. Fortunately, in recent months, the supply situation has improved considerably, and we estimate that by the end of December, we would have secured a total of some 26 million doses, he said yesterday when he addressed the nation on the pandemic. And the issues about Christmas, the president said the ravages of COVID-19 had been devastating on the economy, and assuring that he is determined to return us to our normal way of life as quickly as possible by helping to defeat the virus. He urged everybody to act in a responsible manner during the Christmas festivities in order to avoid the spread of the virus. So the message is out there. Go and get a jab if you have not taken it, and that let's respect the protocols as established by an executive instrument and by the Ghana Health Service. So that's about it on the vaccination. Majority Leader Chairman Sabon, who is also the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, has advocated the decoupling of the legislature from the executive, saying that that will be one of the ways to enhance the public trust in Parliament. He said after repeated talks with Parliament's core leadership, it was realized that Ghana's mixed Westminster presidential system of administration had outlived its usefulness. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, the MP for Swam explained that the hybrid system was created to alleviate the jealousy of members of Parliament who believed their effort to bring their party to power had gone unnoticed. You will recall that on December 31st, 1981, the coup that swept away Limam's administration was occasioned in main by disagreements among ruling party members themselves. At the time, we had strict separation of powers. And his argument is that we should adopt this. I don't know what you make of this anymore, that we should have strict separation of powers. The legislature must be strong enough to ensure that they do their oversight responsibility very well. My difficulty with this story is that, remember when President Mills was in power, and he commissioned a group of people to study our constitution, recommend areas that we can reform it under the constitutional review arrangement. And amongst the things that they presented to the president was the fact that we should amend the constitution such that the president will have the opportunity to appoint all his ministers outside of parliament. As we speak, it has not been implemented. So when you're talking about strict separation of powers, it starts with you. But what have you done about it?
Exactly. But I feel like, I mean, on that position alone, that would be interesting if the ministers were not in parliament.
That would
they
mean
could
that
actually focus on other things, and then parliament could, it would actually
be good. So that MP is in parliament with no intention of becoming a minister. Therefore, he's able to concentrate fully on his parliamentary duties and hold the government to account. Doing very well, he holds nobody any favors.
I mean, well, anyways.
And again, the Ghana Health Service has shown that Ghana has enough vaccines for the vaccination month of December. They are urging everybody to do. MPP tables 38 proposals for constitutional amendment. That's according to the statement. The New Patriotic Party will be in the Ashanti Regional Capital this weekend for the National Delegates Conference. Now, the governing party says 38 proposals have been tabled for possible amendment to the party's constitution. Key amongst them is a proposal to elect a presidential candidate 2 years before a major election. Addressing the media on Tuesday, Communication Director of the party, Abwabena Samoa, said the party would use the upcoming Delegates Conference to consider these proposals. All the proposals that have been forwarded will be debated, either accepted or rejected. Once accepted, everybody at the conference will know the ones that have been accepted, and they will be made amenable to legal language and then incorporated into the constitution. And this conference is coming off this weekend. Your most trusted news channel, Joy News, will be there to bring you up-to-the-minute events at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. Government focus on beneficial functioning educational reform. That's according to the minister. The billboard directive to be removed expired at midnight tonight. So going into today, if your billboard is still standing, the Ashanti Regional Security Council will ensure that it is taken down. GGA president calls for solution-oriented journalists. Paperless port project saves importers millions of cedis. That's also in the Statesman newspaper. Back page, Agric Minister I saw talking. This time not about presidential ambition, but improving the sector. Back page, Edward Mendy, how Chelsea goalkeeper became Africa's #1. And some people believe that he was overlooked for the best goalkeeper in last year. Sergio Aguero retires from football after suffering heart-related issues. So
told me about that.
Exactly.
Ago,
So this is the Daily Statesman.
Daily Statesman. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. Let's get into the Daily Guide, and a rather innocuous headline. I'm not sure if the use of the word innocuous is correct, but NDC accepts 2022 budget. I don't think so. But anyway, Equivalent Polo sets free, fined 12,000 cedis. Sorry. So on page 3 of the Daily Guide, there's a story that the NDC accepts 22 budgets, and it really just talks about the back and forth that the minority has gone against the majority. All of that. I don't know if it concludes in them accepting the budget, because from speaking to members of parliament who've been here, I mean, they don't want to hold the country to ransom, but you also don't get the feeling that they've completely accepted.
I mean, legally, what is before Parliament is the budgets. What the MPP majority did was the NDC people were not on the floor. So technically, there's a budget before them, which has been accepted by the House.
Okay, Omicron spreading at an unprecedented rate. So the new coronavirus variant Omicron is spreading across the globe at an unprecedented rate. The World Health Organization has warned cases of the heavily mutated variant have been confirmed in 77 countries. At a press conference, WHO chief said it was probably many others, but they hadn't detected it yet. He expresses some concern, especially about the fact that it spread so quickly, so quickly. The WHO's latest data suggests that the variant can better evade existing vaccines and carries a higher risk of reinfection, leading the organization to say the level of risk remains high. So that's Omicron. So stay safe out there. You know, simple protocols that could save your life. Wear your face mask, wash your hands, don't get too close to other people, don't touch surfaces, don't touch your face. I mean, we know what to do, so let's just do it so that we can stay safe. Hundreds trapped during fire in HK skyscraper. Tunisian Navy rescues 78 migrants, 1 dead. And South Africa's High Court orders ex-President Zuma back to prison. 72-year-old, 79, sorry. 79-year-old Jacob Zuma was sentenced to prison for contempt of court, and then he came out on medical leave, but the High Court has asked him to go back. Okay, Henry Kwate tops online poll. Okay, the most active government official. That's the poll that he's topping. Interesting there.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
He is very,
He's done very well.
Yeah.
As the Greater Accra region. I mean, even though in the last few weeks, he's not been seen much.
Yeah, why though?
It's unclear. Perhaps we need to find out.
Okay. Anyway, I hope he's okay. Well, why don't you drop us a hi? The Greater Accra Regional Minister, if you're okay. Just let us know that you're okay. Manifest gets customized emoji from Twitter. Congolese singer caged for kidnapped. Kim Kardashian passes law exam at 4th attempt. Now, she needs to take 2 exams to be called to the bar in California. She's passed 1 after the 4th attempt. So 1 more to go. So I guess congratulations.
She wants to be a lawyer?
Yeah, like her father.
That's very interesting.
It is very interesting, like her father. So, okay, let's do some more. Oh gosh, another story. Jealous man kills girlfriend. A 20-year-old lady has been brutally murdered by her boyfriend who accused her of cheating. We're seeing too many of these stories, all set for Samini Experience concert. It's powered by Joy Entertainment. So it's on the 24th of December. I'm going to be there. Are you going to come?
I will be there.
From your barbecue.
And then we go there.
So we eat, we are full, then we head to the concert. Yeah. So that's the Samini concert happening. Covenant says emergency wedding this Saturday. And D-Flex to release Odolastic soon. Okay. Back page, some sports. Club unsure of Salah and main AFCON plans. Nana gives Black Challenge cash. Okay, resolve your internal fighting. Minister tells Amputee Federation. This Amputee Federation, they're being a little bit troublesome. You know. Okay, that's it for me.
So the Ghanaian Times has it front page, 2.3 million Ghanaians in danger, projected to live below poverty line by 2030. Are there not enough people already living under the poverty line? This, for me, is just telling us what we already know. Yeah, but the story is on page 16. We'll get to it shortly. Even though there's uncertainty over the 2022 budget, the NDC says that they may file another motion to reverse it. They are approving some contents of the budget. And yesterday, they approved 921.8 million Ghana cedis for the Transport Ministry for the 2022 fiscal year. Railway Development Ministry also got 575 million Ghana cedis. So they are approving what government says they should, even though there appears to be some uncertainty over the future of the 2022 budget. And today they'll be approving more reports from the committee, and then basically
that's if they can move past the fact that Daddy is back.
So if they are successful, meaning all that they have done will be reversed. And then we are back to
square one.
Yeah, square one. So that is the news this morning. Transport Ministry, Railway Ministry, they are out of the hook yet. They are out of it. They have their monies approved by Parliament. Now UK removes all 11 African countries from the red list. And I think
good job there, yeah.
This is a very good job. And we are talking about South Africa, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. We're on the red list, and the UK says that everybody is out of it. You spoke about Zuma going back to jail. It's also in the Ghanaian Times. But page 16 of the paper says that a report by the National Development Planning Commission to assess progress so far on the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals has projected 2.3 million Ghanaians to live below the national poverty line by 2030. And that's just almost 8 years away. Now, poverty line is the estimated minimum level of income needed to secure the necessities of life. The report says 6 regions, namely Western, Central, Greater Accra, Eastern Ashanti, and the Bonahafo region were to achieve the target of having poverty line by the same year, 2030, whilst concerted effort were required to ensure that the Volta, Northern, Upper East, Upper West regions meet the targeted national poverty line. The exciting news about this is that, Central region has always been the most poorest in the country, but it appears that they've done some work, and they are amongst the region that have lifted themselves out of the poverty line.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
SDGs for 2030. So that's coming from the National Development Planning Commission. Osei Chairman Sabonzo, who is the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, says Parliament must focus on demanding accountability on how revenues from the proposed e-levy will be utilized rather than opposing the introduction. The Minister spoke at a news conference. Yes, according to the House, must, as part of its accountability mechanism, demand of government specific estimates for specific sectors and then put in the necessary strategies to ensure that the monies were utilized for the intended purposes. Government target creation of 2,000 direct jobs under Infante Community Mining Scheme, and we are told that today they are relaunching the Operation Halt because some recalcitrant galamseyers are back in our forest reserve mining illegally in the Ashanti region, so they are going to ensure that they get them out of it. So why was it stopped if it was not completely dealt with? Players of Black Challenge promised $2,000 each Sandro to cut down weight to book ticket to the Commonwealth Games. That's on the sports page. Nyane Coronation Park approved after residents there embarked on a demonstration. They said they don't want renovation, they want a new stadium. And right after that, there appears to be some progress of work. The minister was at the regional airport to inspect progress of work, and things are going well. Only returned to winning ways. Awako Volley Stanks Elmina Accra also recorded their first victory.
Oh, at last! Wow.
Kotoko drew with Tamale Rail United LT, Yodiana Stars upset Ash Gold in Obuas. If you get the Ghanaian Times back page, you will see the league table and all the stories from the midweek action that took place on all our league centers. Okay,
well, my last paper is a business finder. After must work, let's create conditions that will boost trade, according to Mr. Kwame Pienim. GEPA rallies women exporters to form partnerships, ignore wicked conspiracy theories, and get vaccinated. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. Okay, avoid expired and wholesome products. Save Consumers Ghana. It's a non-governmental organization in Ghana, has launched a one-month social media campaign to create awareness so that Ghanaians can avoid expired, unwholesome, substandard, and dumped products ahead of the Yuletide. Moderate merrymaking, please, to stop the spread of Omicron. That's according to the Ghana Health Service. Okay, plan your imports, avoid demurrage, take advantage of agri opportunities. Chinese market offers hope for Ghana cocoa exports, and regulating forex trading has immense revenue potential. Okay, there's a lot of features, opinion pieces, interesting ones. So do pick up the finder. Inflation rises to 12.2% in November. And the piece, let us end with gratitude. And of course, as the year comes to a close, we're counting our blessings, thanking God for getting us through. Okay, that's it for the business finder.
The dispatch, that'll be my final paper. So serializing the outcome of the 2021 population and housing census as major ethnic groups in Greater Accra, Ashanti, and Volta, Central and Eastern regions. They are doing analysis of the population growth, and if you get a dispatch, you will have the full story. COVID-19 compulsory vaccination to start in January, so the window is still open from now till the end of the month. And the multimedia, again, is bringing health professionals to our premises here. So folks in and around Kokumlemle, if you are yet to be vaccinated, you can just come to the frontage of Joy FM, and then you will have it done. This is a collaboration between Joy FM and the Ghana Health Service. Now, MPP considering the election of 2024 flag bearer next year. I've already spoken about it. Government consulting Boeing and Airbus to procure new presidential aircraft. And this was, told Parliament by the Defense Minister, saying that the current fleets are not fit for purpose, and for that reason there should be approval to go and get a bigger one, so that this debate about whether the president went aboard in a chartered
vehicle or not,
jets that costs us £15,000 an hour to be in the air can be settled once and for all. Back page is time to decouple the legislature from the executive for Seche Mensah. Ghana has adequate vaccine for the month of vaccination drive. That's according to the Ghana Health, and that's your dispatch this morning.
Okay, thank you so much, Elton. Let's go to My Joy Online. And the banner headline, COVID-19, this is not the time to reopen land borders, as President Akufo-Addo. The full text of his 27th update on COVID-19 is also available on myjoyonline.com. Government consults Boeing and Airbus to procure new presidential aircrafts. It's time to decouple the legislature from the executive. Deduct 10 million Ghana cedis from budgetary allocation to Roads and Highways Ministry. That's Kwame Agboja speaking as well. COVID-19 vaccination, ignore the conspiracy theories. As President Akufo-Addo, vaccination won't cause you to vote for NPP in 2024. Akufo-Addo debunked COVID-19 myth, and 4 children die in Australia. Bouncy Castle fall. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you so much, Elton.
You're welcome
for joining me
I wish
this
you
morning.
well. I'm just going to sit, relax, and then watch you.
And watch. Okay, well, we'll see you tomorrow. All right, then. And thank you so much for staying tuned in. This is the AM show. We're on until 9 a.m. And coming up next, well, we have a break, and then Muftal brings us all the news that you need to know on sports. Don't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. Well, welcome back. This is still the AM show, and we're diving into what's become an almost regular segment for the past maybe 3 weeks since the budget was put to the floor of Parliament. We're speaking to our friends from Parliament, our honourable members of Parliament, and this morning we have Edward Bauer, MP for Bongo, and John, do you mind just going through your full name for me, please? I think I may get your surname wrong.
Okay, my surname is Sani.
Sani, okay, John Abam
John,
Sani.
Yeah, John Kobina Abamaboa Sani, but I'm well known of John Sani.
John Sani, okay, all right, thank you so much. MP for Mpoho. Thank you for joining us this morning. So we're going to get into that. Pop over to our social media handles and you know, fire your questions. We'd love to know what you're thinking, what you would like to know as we have and as we continue this conversation. So good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so yesterday, we were told that the appropriations was going to happen. How did that go? Why are you shaking your head?
Well, because you didn't direct the question to you.
Oh, okay. No, so it's just like a conversation. I mean, any one of you can take it.
Oh, okay.
I shook my head because, good morning to you.
Yeah, because
I shook my head because
we haven't got.
We are so far away from appropriation.
Okay. Well, we had Suhini and Kwame yesterday, and they mentioned, you know, that was the plan.
No.
Yes.
So currently, what we are doing is that we're doing committee works. You know, the budget now finally, the various portions are referred to committees. The committees will then, first look at the preceding year, that's 2021, the budget that was approved in the appropriation. They will drill through it and see how it was expended. Then you then look at what the 2022 budget is, and then on the basis of that, you then approve it or otherwise at the committee level. Then you bring it to plenary. So currently, most of the committees are wrapping up on those their activities. Now, yesterday, what happened was that some of the reports were taken yesterday on the floor of Parliament. So, for example, a typical one was roads and transport. And to be very sincere, there was an issue on that, but that's for another day. So that went through illegally, in my opinion, because Mr. Speaker deliberately, at the time when we were approving that particular estimate, were 77.
Okay.
I personally counted and got up to stop the approval. And Mr. Speaker deliberately became blind towards me.
How many were you supposed to be?
For decision making, per Mr. Speaker's own ruling and per what we call the 109, or the 109, we're supposed to be 138. And we're 77 in the House at the time of the approval. So if your correspondence, you realize that at one point when that happened, there was this noise and other things. That's why they quickly moved from the approvals and came back to question time because they realized that they had perpetuated an illegality and they could not continue with it. So that roads and transport, estimate went through. So currently that is exactly where...
So that went through?
That went through.
Albeit illegally?
In my opinion, it's illegal. Okay. And I think that Mr. Speaker, in my opinion, did not conduct himself well.
Okay.
So, that went through. So basically that is where we are now. The appropriation, the reason why I said we are far from appropriation is that appropriation is an aggregation of the various expenditure items from the various sectors that is put together into a bill.
Okay.
That is then passed as a law.
So obviously we're quite far away.
We are far from that. So that is where we are now. So
okay. So John, what do you have to say about this illegality that has been, and of course I use the term loosely and with quotation marks, that has been perpetuated?
Use this opportunity to thank, to greet your cherished viewers at this moment who are watching us this morning on your big platform. Seriously, I'm lost, and I don't know when I will come to the terms or the word illegality in terms of approving the road estimation yesterday, because we're all in the house and the various I think four of the estimation were brought and they were approved. The railway, the environment, the transport and the roads. And all these 4 estimations were approved. As my brother said, at this very particular stage, we are all at the committee level considering the various estimates and also interrogating the previous year, that's the 2022 appropriation, being the capex, compensation and goods and services of the previous year, and then approve the estimation for the 2022. And so far so good. The minority side has been very, very cooperative. Let me commend them. I think we have come far with everything that we are doing. And so for whatever happened yesterday, for me, I don't see the legality of it. It was done according to the standing orders, and it was constitutional. And so we have moved on. And today, there will be other motions that will be moved from the various sectors to be approved in terms of estimation. Then we will then come to the appropriation where all the ministries and all various sectors estimation will be brought together to be laid as a bill to be approved. Then we'll move on. So for me, we have come far and we are working together. The cooperation is very good. The spirit in the house so far, to me, it's been very good. I'm on the trade and industry, tourism and privilege. And on my side, the members of the minority have been very, very cooperative. And so we have exhausted the previous year appropriation, and then we have also looked into the 2022 estimation. And they have made their input, and it's been considered, and we are done. So I'm sure today trade might be part of the estimation that will be moved today. So I think we have to move on, and we have to move on.
Okay. I'm tempted to ask if you were in the same parliament, like if there's two different parliaments.
Let me make a point. There is this impression and some unnecessary pressure to be put on the minority. And you can see that from public discourse. That seems to suggest that the actions of the minority at one point may be unreasonable and what have you. Look, at the committee level, if we have no reason to oppose some estimates, we have no reason to oppose it.
Okay,
if we have no reason to oppose it, Why do we have to oppose it? Government business must go on.
So, for example, with the roads,
Yes.
but you asked that 10 million it be reduced by a certain amount.
That was a debate. That was a debate the ranking member did as part of his what do you call it, submission on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor.
He indicated that 10 million should be taken out, but that was not actually captured in the report.
In the report.
Okay.
So that was his own submission.
That's interesting. It's made almost all the newspapers.
So that was what, in my opinion, if that was supposed to be done, it should have found a way in the report.
Okay.
But it was not in the report. You see, so there are some areas you go and you see that obviously, for example, if you take energy and they say that they are dedicating X amount of money to connect communities to rural edification, and you don't see anything wrong with it. Why do you have to oppose it?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And again, we have consistently stated that in all these estimates and other things, we are ready to work with government in that. That being said, there's one item that is a no-no for all of us. We've not gotten there yet, and that has to do with the
e-levy.
The e-levy stuff. The challenge, and when you said that you were as to whether we're all in the same chamber, the challenge was that we must be seen to be principled as human beings and as members of parliament. If the same speaker who was seated on the chair turned a decision that was done by the substantive speaker on the basis that we were not up to 138 and per our standing orders, it was enough grounds to overturn what they call it, a decision that had been taken earlier. Then you have estimates that are going to be made. And then at the time you are trying to put the question, members want to draw your attention that what you are going to do is an illegality, even based on your own standards and based on the standing orders. And you pretend, by virtue of the fact that you have the discretion to catch that, because you know there's always this in that you need to catch the eye of the Mr. Speaker, and then you suddenly become blind. That you don't see when human beings are up and shouting that, Mr. Speaker, somebody's up. And you do not do that. That's the hypocrisy of our house. That's the hypocrisy of it. And that's the part. It is not about the content of that, but we're trying to look at just the principles. That's one. Two, you know, he spoke about the issue of trade. Yeah. The fact that maybe trade. Look, the day before, they had attempted laying a report that we had not even met on. For example, lands and natural resources. If you look at lands and natural resources, the ministry, it falls under two committees. The forestry part and the land part falls under a committee known as Lands and Forestry. The mines part falls under Mines and Energy, where I am a member. We had not even met to consider the mines budget. And they were going to lay it. But for the fact that I was in the chamber, they would have laid it. So I had to stop it. Then yesterday, trade. The chairman made an attempt laying a report that they had not finished. But for the fact that the deputy ranking, Yusuf Suleimana, MP for Bole, got up and arrested that laying, they were going to lay it. So you see that there's this attempt to do this kangaroo type of laying just to be able to find it. Look, I just want the MPP to understand that areas that we can cooperate, we will cooperate because we want to see this government go on. We want to see the state being run. But it must be done within the remit of law. Within the remit, because the House is guided by the standing orders, it's also guided by the Constitution. So if you want, by virtue of the fact that you want to use this Takasi spirit to do some of these things, you will have problems. And unfortunately, when you resist them, they see you as unreasonable, they see you as radical, and in fact, some are even so unkind to tell that you are the hawks. And so, I feel sad about that. Just as he said, cooperation, let's cooperate. There are a lot of areas we can cooperate. The budget is about 400 pages. And of all the 400, it's not every page that the NDC is against. Yeah. We are critically against a particular element, because now, the issue of allocation for the Keta, that has been done, even though insufficient. But at least there has been a movement in that area. You have spoken on other areas. But we have a critical area, which is the e-levy. We've not gotten there yet. And we have reasons why we think that, for example, the e-levy must not go through. And those reasons we have articulated them. And so, and I say this because, look, 2 days ago, you saw on newspaper, a group of pastors who were there that were praying for the spirit that, I don't know how to put it, the bad spirit that is found in members of parliament, that God should take that off and let them see nation building and other things. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. What is this? There are others who, and it's so much unnecessary pressure being put on the minority, as if the minority is the one running the government. All we are doing is that if you just want that, look, you remember 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, any time issues came to Parliament and they went through, they say, oh, this is a rubber stamp Parliament. Now you have a situation where people are rising up to mirror the aspirations of Ghanaians, and you say you are sabotaging the business. So what should the minority do now?
Okay, that's a good question. What should the minority do? But are you using Takashi to get some of this?
My dear, that is not true. Everything that is being done in the preliminary is being done in the spirit of our standing orders. And I found wanting of some of the passing statement of my brother. Now, for instance, the ranking member of roads, a report has been moved, a motion has been moved. And then on the preliminary of debating the finality of the estimation, during the consideration, you never added this 20 million or whatever into the report. So it's a done, it's a concluded estimation. Why do you then come to the floor in the grey eyes of cameras, media, and then begin to raise this issue of shortfall or deficit of 10 million, whilst you had all the opportunity to raise this issue at the consideration level to make your input? So, excuse my word, if it's not a mischief or a propaganda that you want to create in the eyes of Ghanaians, why do you then come to the floor and raise this issue of deficit of 10 million? Moreover, you know very well that appropriation of a very year is interrogated in the next year. So this levy of a shortfall of 10 million from the day it was suspended to date, that he has calculated, and I don't know the scientific basis that he actually calculated and arrived on the 10 million. Okay, then you come into a big space of the House and begin to raise this issue whilst you know that this issue has to be interrogated next year. When the ministry comes before the committee for 2023 estimation, that is where you have the opportunity to interrogate the 2021 appropriation that was given to them. Then you can interrogate the shortfalls and what was done with the money that was apportioned to the ministry. So for you to bring, even the year have not ended, the financial year have not ended. So how do you interrogate the appropriation of that year in this particular year? It's not done. So these are some of the challenges that we have with the minority. Every now and then, every little thing, they want to blow it up for certain expediency that I don't know, whether for propaganda, whether for political gain, or whether the campaign trail for 2024 has already started. Some of this behavior, excuse my word, it so sometimes catch our eyes, and sometimes we founded with some of their actions and inactions on the floor. Okay, so this is the challenge that we have. But not that we don't seem to appreciate their work as a minority by interrogating bills, motions, and whatever. That's what in the committee level as we speak right now. That is their major work, to scrutinize the estimate, bring out issues that they think we have to correct, and also bring an input that will make the estimation better for Ghanaians. And this is where we are. So if you are a committee ranking more of a chair of the minority side, and you have all the opportunity to raise all these issues and make your input, and you did not, and you come to the floor while that particular issue that you are raising is not in your own report, then it becomes a problem.
Okay, so what about the reports that you were putting to the floor that hadn't been discussed, as Edward said here?
Well, he has raised that the trade, and then two, which the lands and whatever. Well, I'm not in the lands, but the trade. We concluded our deliberation, the consideration on Tuesday. We completed everything, and I don't know what I was not there when the bill was moved. Sorry, the estimates was moved on the floor, and then the deputy ranking, the man, the honorable member that he mentioned, he's the deputy ranking, Suleiman. I don't know the issue that he raised, and
so that's the issue he raised.
Okay.
You know, for example, I'll give you a typical example. In the energy sector, there were certain things that we asked that they should go back and feed us with information. For example, we had this 4 billion that was being used to pay IPPs for capacity charge. We said, go and itemize which IPP got what, so that we see the transparency in that. So they had to bring that. So I drew the attention of my chairman to it. Now you have a situation where, with the Ministry of the trade issue, there was certain information the committee had asked them to go and bring, because it's a basis of what they call it, piece of information they will bring. Then they will know whether to approve the estimates or to reject it. Those pieces of information had not come yet. Then you had the chairman nicodemously wanting to lay the report, and that is why when it was raised, then immediately their whip realized that the fact that the guy had a case, and said, okay, then we withdraw the laying. So, but assuming that you were not in the chamber to see that happen, they would have just gone to PAP, and that's it. And see, let's as a people agree that I can understand that if you are in government, you will want to see things done and done very quickly for you. It is legitimate to fight those things.
Especially because you're breaking suit, aren't you?
So it's legitimate to do that. But it is also important that you give the opportunity of Ghanaians to know that at least some work has been done. I am always sad that sometimes certain things are done in Parliament. We approve certain things, and then suddenly the public then gets to see what we have approved. And then a sweeping comment is made about the all MPs. Oh, MPs were there and they passed this. MPs were there and they passed it.
Yeah.
That, that accusation and other thing, it's not only on minority or majority, it's on every single member in the house there. So it is important that even if you want to see our government business go through, let us meet the minimum test of transparency, the minimum test of accountability. And it should just meet that. Okay. And some of these things, it is not asking too much. You understand the point I'm making? Because see, I'll give you a typical example. You see that in the media, it is already going around about, if you look at the breakdown of the goods and the usage of the COVID funds, almost 33 million was used for conferences and meetings.
Yeah.
At a time when conferences and other things have been banned globally, and you have, out of this total amount of money that we had voted for the fight of this, about 33 million Ghana cedis was put into that. The minority, and particularly the Committee on Health, has seen this and highlighted it, that this is a challenge for us, and we are unable to come to terms with how this thing was done. Suddenly, you have MPP in the media creating the impression that the only reason why the minority is asking and fighting that is because we have asked for money and they have not given us, and so we are highlighting that thing. What kind of thing? It's TV and it's early morning. I was going to use a word. I mean, it's so irritating that you see this. Even as an MPP MP, you should be worried. At the time when we are talking about the fact that Ghanaians were tested positive for the Omicron, variant, because as a country, we are not doing enough sequencing to know what type of mutation is going on in terms of our virus. And then you have 33 million Ghana cedis being expended on something that you cannot just phantom. So when you see things being done this way, even as an MP representing people from your constituency, whether they are MPP, they are NDC, you should be worried. But when you then take that, and the fact that somebody is asking for accountability on the expenditure of a particular item, then you go already and say, the reason why they are doing this is because they demanded money and they didn't give it to them. What kind of conversation is this? What kind of conversation is it? So if you want us to work well, let's be honest with each other. And normally, these things, it is the basis that, look, we have seen. Look, I'll give you another example. The Ministry of, the Committee on Foreign Affairs, they realized that about 65 million Ghana cedis was expended in terms of their expenditure for 2021. And the Ministry of, Foreign Affairs didn't even know who expended those monies. So if you have Okujato and his people fighting this case, is it the case that is because of the fact that they want money, that's why they are fighting this case? 65 million Ghana cedis, you know what that can do?
A lot.
So, but you see, when they do that, and they have two sets of people. They have one group of people who will come and say, let's work and cooperate with each other. And they have another group of people who go to the media and bash you for being accountable and trying to be make the government demand accountability. And so, look, let me state it here. The minority is interested in working with government to ensure that the 2022 budget is passed, because we need that for development. Government must work. The state must be seen to be working, delivering services to the people. We are ready to do that. But we'll want to do that in a very transparent and accountable manner.
Okay. Okay. Do you have anything to say in response to that?
Yeah, my dear sister, for what I want to add to what my dear brother said. Over the years, budget has been presented in the House, and it has gone through the stages that we are going through with this 2022. Is wanting for better words, this particular 2022 budget has been a loudy one, and sometimes I get to a point and I ask myself a question: how did we arrive at this? We have been working together, as he said, and this, as he said in the social media, well, one member from
Parliamentary resumed.
One member from our side have made a statement that because they are putting a bid of some monetary gain and they will refuse that, blah, blah, blah. This allegation has been year in, year out. Anytime budget are presented, the perception the public have with members of parliament that where with the committee level certain tokens are exchanged and what, it has been in the public domain over the years. Okay. So this is not news. To hammer on it at this morning for you to look at it, this is the first time. It's been a perception which you know is not true. And so you are a member of parliament. And so when you come and sit here and then you begin to hammer on just a mere allegation without any substance, then, yeah, but that is where you also have to say that it's not true. It's not true. You have to just hammer on the point that it's not true. Or you don't even mention it.
But you have people, if you have, for example, the regional chairman of one of your party, you are talking of the Bono area, you have your regional chairman make this. It's not like it's a foot soldier who is somewhere. This is somebody who is part of your top decision making at the party level. And then you have your regional chairman make such allegations.
Is he a member of parliament? Is he a member of any committee?
You think Ghana is just the 275 of us?
Is he a member of parliament, or is he a member of the committees? And was he there when your group or your side demanded that money?
That's the point I'm making.
Don't let us go there.
The point I'm just trying to make is that it is unfair. And you realize that I indicated that there's this unnecessary pressure being put on what do you call it, the minority. When you want to ask for accountability, there's this. If you decide to say that you want to see, okay, where can we cooperate to make? There's another issue that comes. There are people who have even written articles. You've read the Martin Amidu's article that he's written. I saw Suleiman Abrema's also write up on that. You see all these things are, and I can understand. They have the right to be able to put the necessary pressure to see you work and work very well. But any time the minority, in their own estimate, based on the facts available to the minority, decide that this is the path we are taking, and you take that path, either you are seen as sabotaging or you are seen as being unnecessarily cooperative.
Honorable, what I see is a propaganda drive in your actions and inactions anytime you raise an issue. That brings out to this very point, that people always raise meanings into your side of whatever you raise, whether genuine or ingenuine, because you always drive your point and your issues with some propaganda drive, and that is the biggest problem we have with on the minority side. It's true, okay? Because that's why when I was making my presentation, I said this is not the first time budget has been read. Okay, we have read budget. It has gone through these stages that we are going through. There wasn't this capital noise on the previous budget. Why today? Is it because we have a hung parliament? So you have to stretch the government to its toes to succumb to whatever your interest. If not, then what is the big deal? What is the big deal? Because this, when you did your analysis, you ended everything to the point that what you don't agree is the e-levy. Is it the first time a government in power has introduced a tax?
No, it's not.
And was it trumped to this extent? Was that much drama?
Let me just explain something.
I'm coming. This is my turn. Let me finish my point before you come.
Okay.
It has not been so. Okay. Now this yield levy, the press briefing of the finance minister said he's doing a broad consultation with the civil society, stakeholders, and finally they will come out with a decision. So we are still in the waiting
for that
to hear what the government through the finance minister will present.
Okay.
But you see, the attitude and character of a decision of no is where the problem is.
No, we do not just say no. We say and point to areas you can make up for the money. That's what we do.
Where?
One, your total projection for 2022 is that you, assuming that the tax collection is efficient, you are projecting to collect about 6.9 billion Ghana cedis. That's what you are projecting to collect. So we are drawing your attention to the fact that one, you have the Auditor General's report that says that if you look at the...
We have listened to...
Be patient.
I'm the one on the floor. We have listened to all the issues that you have raised.
So why do you say that just no?
The finance minister have then assured you that he's gone back. He's consulting, meeting stakeholders on the issue.
Who is he consulting?
My brother.
No, state here. He's consulting. State it. You're on live TV.
He is a finance minister, and he is with the government. All the issues that you have raised about the yield levy, who doesn't know? Who doesn't know?
What are the issues we have raised?
You are talking about, some of you are even talking about fine, which will reduce the cap. Some are talking about 1.5, some are talking about 1%. Some are saying total scrape off. Is that not it? Yes. And some are also looking at the financial sector, the 15% as well. And so all these issues, all the points that you want to raise about this yield levy thing.
You have not captured even a single one of our concerns. What we have indicated.
Have you come out and have you realized we have captured your concerns?
Excuse me.
We haven't finally come out. And so how do you know that we have not captured your concerns?
Government has, look, one, we have indicated that on an annual basis.
Your indications and your points has been realized. We have all of them on the table. The finance minister and the government have it.
John,
my brother, listen.
Can you let me make my point?
We haven't come out. Okay, so why do you then make a decision that we have not come in consideration of all the issues that you have raised about?
Have you finished? Now, our first statement we have made is that on an annual basis, we lose about $3 billion in terms of corruption. We are not expecting government to just eradicate everything. At least half that. If you have that in terms of CD term, that's almost about 10 billion.
Yeah.
That would have taken care of your 6.9 billion that you are talking about. Okay. Two, we are saying that there are some particular expenditures we can even cut on. If you look at the Office of Government Machinery, this year alone, you have increased the allocation to that by about $1 billion. Why do you need that? You can even keep us at the figures because you say it is hard times for all of us. And the Office of Government Machinery is Flagstaff House and its allied groups that are in the presidency and its allied groups. So we say you can do that. Three, you are contemplating, and I think some of the media houses had captured that today, you are contemplating buying some quote-unquote executive jets for the president. We are saying that at this time of need, crisis, when you are asking Ghanaians to tighten their belts, take that off from the budget. You are contemplating putting another chamber for parliament. We are saying that this time of the listen, MPs can make do with the current chamber that we have. Take it off. Are you getting the point I'm making?
Yeah.
We have stated this very carefully.
This chamber issue.
Can you let me also finish my point?
Who proposed it? This chamber issue. Who proposed for the consortium of it?
Can I make my point?
And the budget of parliament. That when the finance minister came to the house to read the budget that he was called into the chamber, the speaker called him to increase the parliamentary allocation of budget. Who proposed it? It's not the speaker. Who proposed it?
You are so... I was going to say...
No, but the point
you are so ill-informed about parliamentary work. So ill-informed.
No, you rather. Because you see, this parliamentary... Who first of all proposed this parliamentary project? Who even first proposed this parliamentary project?
Have you really been following the budget discussions in Parliament?
You see, this issue... Listen. No, I'm also live. You are on the live TV.
I would have told you something, but we're on live TV. Look,
what were you going to say?
Look, let me tell you. Please, if you have no information, just keep quiet. You see, the first and foremost, clearly, government had come and proposed. Actually, you realize that it was in the 7th Parliament, that was under Speaker Makokwe, that it came, and you remember that was when Asiedun Ketia issued a statement and said that if any minority member, the 106 that were in Gao, supports this particular move, you were going to automatically be penalized, and that forget rerunning in your constituency.
Yeah.
It was a warning he gave to all MPs, in case you are not aware. So it was shelved. Then this time round, it came again. But you know what the government did? The government, in an attempt to trap, decided that they were going to put it as part of the allocation for Parliament. So in terms of the Parliament budget, they'll fix it there. And then we said, no, this is not a business for Parliament. Two, we said, take it off. Take it off from idea. Because we can do without. We can do without.
We are in the public.
You understand? We can do without a chamber. So don't create an impression.
This Parliament project, if I'm to give you the basis and discussion that have gone on, I might be mentioning names here, which is not ideal for the public.
It's transparency. It's transparency.
No. Brother. Even this Parliament, which president was the first person to mention it in Parliament? This parliamentary project. This construction of new edifice for Parliament. No, which president? It's not Mahama in his statement of address when he was in power. So when he mentioned that we need a new edifice, where was he going to get the money to put up? Where was he going to get the money? So is it today?
So is the timing right?
That time he was proposing to be, was the timing right?
John, when he raised it, that's an opposition. So what did you say in response to him raising that?
In a statement of address, that is we need a new Parliament because of the space and the size of Parliament and our business. We need a new Parliament. It was a statement, is a State of the Nation address. So when it was then the following year, if they have won, that is where they would have then come with an estimate and budget for it, and they lost. So the first person who mentioned that Ghana need a new Parliament is former President Mahama. So when he mentioned where was he going to get the money, at that time was Ghanaians, all of us were rich and well to do this argument. When he came out with this issue.
The other area I want to tell, I don't want to get myself involved in this. The other thing I want to talk about on still the same budget and e-levy thing. There's serious miscommunication. You would have seen some video viral with the agric minister talking about if the e-levy is not approved, they're not going to get fertilizer. You remember that? Go and read the budget. The finance minister stated what we're going to use the money for.
The e-levy for,
Was a great part of it.
No.
So how on earth can you have a a cabinet minister going around and misinforming people and frightening farmers that if they don't pass the e-levy, they won't get fertilizer? When you know that they had stated cyber security, they stated the USTAT, they had stated the roads, and Agreg was not part of it. These days, anything, including when a woman goes to the hospital to give birth and there's no water, they say if you don't pass the e-levy, you won't get the water to give. What kind of misinformation is this? What kind of misinformation is this? And see, they do that just to be able to get that. And we have stated, you need money to work with. Because we say we are in crisis. And we are saying that, look, if you look at what you are going, where you have decided to target, you are targeting people's capital. You are look, why would I after paying all my taxes, I want to move my money from you to another person, and you are taxing that again. I mean, this is so criminal.
That is where I don't get the point.
Criminal.
As we sit here, okay.
I mean,
when you are paid at the end of the month, your payee is daughter from the source. Is that not it? Now, whatever comes to you as a necessary to your account, if you pick it today, and you want to send a token to a friend, a mother, or relative, when you send today, there's a sending source tax and an ending source tax that you are paid out. Now, what's the difference with the current state of tax on momos and the e-levy? Does it mean that any money that is transferred in any platforms or whatever electronically is a capital fund? It's a capital fund. We are talking about revenue and earns, of money that comes to individuals that you want to send in terms of purchasing an item or giving a token to a friend or paying a fee of your children or whatever. And taxes are paid on different levels, different business transactions. For the fact that you have been taxed from the source of your salary and it comes to you, doesn't mean that any purchases that you do with whatever you have earned you don't pay tax on it. Because if you go
but
to...
even the purchases that you do, the purchases that you make are already taxed. So for example, I went to a restaurant last week to have lunch with my 2 children. Our bill came up to, I think it was about 230 something Ghana cedis. Over 40 cedis of that was taxed. So the cost of the food was about 100. So hang on a second. So at that point, if I'm then going to pay by Momo, then I'm going to be taxed on the actual transaction itself.
Dear, that's why I'm saying that today, as you said, there was a component of 40 cedis
which is even a lot, actually.
The tax component, 40 cedis as a tax paying at the mall or the shop.
Yeah.
Today, that we have not introduced the e-levy, if we were going to pay with your Momo account from your wallet or whatever, as you are paying with the 40 cedis as other tax, again, the platform that you are using to do that transaction is going to charge you 1%.
Actually, I use Vodafone Cash and they don't charge anything. So if I was doing it, it would be...
What Vodafone Cash?
Yes, if I'm paying with Vodafone Cash, I actually wouldn't pay anything.
So you happen to have a Vodafone, is that not?
Yeah.
So the one using the MTN, what happens?
Well, they would pay their...
So there's nothing different.
So you're justifying on the basis of the fact that, my brother, the service providers
already charge
the service.
That is it.
So because that you also
if you don't have concern of the service or the telecos charging that percentage, using the Momo to pay any transaction that you do, including the tax on the actual item at the shop, why is it today a problem?
Okay, so when it comes to e-levy, I think we'll dedicate a full show and have the e-levy arguments, because it's not going to be done today anyway. So, and the other things that I really want us to talk about, for example, Edward, let me ask you this question. Yesterday, Al-Hassan Suhini suggested that once the speaker came back, I think he's coming back today.
He's in.
So he's in and he'll be getting back in his seat today. The motion... the parliamentary language is sometimes a bit complicated.
That's okay.
You're going to ask him to pretty much reverse, the past few weeks and go back to the point where, he said, okay, budget's not approved. Is that really going to happen?
So,
and when you put that motion to him, does he actually have the power to say, yeah, I'm just going...
Anytime Parliament can always introduce motions.
So are you going to do that?
As we speak now, there are a lot of options available to us.
Okay.
Our first option, you recall that when we put the initial motion that Haruna introduced to turn what had happened on the, I think, 6th or 7th of December, I'm not too sure. Mr. Speaker did not, after the debate, we never voted on it, and he ruled on it. Haruna decided, based on 93.5 or the 93.5, decided to challenge the Mr. Speaker's motion by way of a substantive motion. When he did that, per our laws, it is within the discretion of Mr. Speaker to either admit the motion or not. Mr. Speaker had asked the clerk to reply Haruna Idrisu's motion by saying that he had declined to admit it. And he quoted 13.2, which was nobody knew the significance of 13.2 in the letter, but because the letter was written in a hurry, nobody understood why his reference to the decline of that was 13.2 or the 13.2, which talks about when Mr. Speaker is not around, who acts in his stead. So nobody understood that. So, and again, we felt that as per the provisions of the Constitution, that even if the Constitution gives you discretion, the power to exercise discretion, you must do that in a very impartial way. You must do that not with any tainted, lens and what have you. So we felt that he didn't do that. He didn't meet even the constitutional test of the exercise of his discretion. And so we said that we'll contemplate, okay, what we can do is to resubmit that particular, motion. So that can be done. Now the substantive speaker is there. So that can be done to Mr. Speaker. So that's an option. There's also the whole option of just going to reintroduce a new one to turn the budget around. The minority will come to some level of finality on that. But for me, and this is as a person, we don't have to get ourselves bogged down on that. Because you recall that the last time I came here, I said just the approval of the budget statement and then the economic policy of government.
It's just one level.
It's just one level. It's just about 10% of the.
Yeah.
The big deal is what we are doing
now. Okay.
And so, if the essence in all this parliamentary gymnastics that we are doing, is to ensure that an illegal levy is not placed on Ghanaians, we still have an opportunity because that will come through a bill and that we can debate.
Okay, fair enough. So maybe not as sensational as we were perhaps looking forward to with the speaker returning. Let's talk about vaccines for a second. So there's an argument about whether it should be made compulsory or, you know, people's right to choose. Which side of the fence are you on? Let me start with you, John.
Thank you very much, my dear. With the vaccination, whether it should be compulsory, we have come to a point where this COVID-19 or the coronavirus, currently the way the third wave is sweeping the global...
Fourth.
There's the fourth one.
Yeah.
It's sweeping the global face. Is becoming very highly alarming. Yesterday I was watching the CNN, and yesterday alone in UK, over 36,000 indigenes were tested and they were positive. And then the Prime Minister have gone to the House trying to introduce some restrictions.
Yeah, for Christmas,
For Christmas and certain areas and all that. So that the spread is combat. France is also in a very, very big Sambaran stage. I was watching, they are also now trying to even vaccinate children from the age of 5 years upwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. It tells you how this fourth wave, the intensive, and how it's spreading across.
Yeah.
We are fortunate here in Africa in general and Ghana. This morning and yesterday and over the days, you see people virtually walking without nose masks.
Yeah.
And from statistics and records we have, those who are vaccinated are less than those who haven't.
Of course.
When you come to even my constituency, at a point I have to take it up myself with the district director of health to go around to every town and just to create the awareness and the importance why they have to vaccinate. You go and meet the chiefs and the community opinion leaders, the assemblymen, we will talk to them. And this is the vaccine. You have a community that is made up of a population of almost, let's say, 600. We go with about, say, 700 of the vaccine. And for a week, the medical officers, personnel will be there for a week. And for the week, the people that they will be able to vaccinate are not even more than 50.
Wow.
50. And for them, even trying to educate them on the coronavirus and its impact and whatever, they will just be listening to you as if, because they have not seen anybody infected and then died in the presence of them to scare them of the virus or the sickness or whatever we try to term it. And so for them, it's just a hearsay, and they think it's just one of the things that we always say, like, it doesn't exist, but we are trying to capitalize on it to give it a name. And so the education have gone down and down. For me, it is attitudinal problem. And earlier on, the negativity information that was also spread out to the years of the indigenes, that the medicine is meant to eradicate the population of Africa, and it's also meant when you take it, you'll be impotent and all those things, and that some of these things have also sunk into some of our indigenes. So they don't want. And some of them also are being particular of the kind of vaccine that you have to take. Because some people have given certain tag to the phaser, the whatever. There's somebody took the phaser, maybe within a day he was a little bit dizzy and whatever. He went to the hospital for that reaction. the family members around him feel like that one there, I'm not going to take it because my colleague or a friend took it and blah, blah. So they keep spreading it. So even the rest of the vaccine that are the Johnson & Johnson or whatever vaccine, they then take it to the other vaccines that have come out that's supposed to be taken. So what I think we have to do, the restriction and the compulsory vaccine, we have to, as a country, discuss it and come up with it because it's important. Because when you look at the amount the government has spent to bring this vaccine down here, and we are not taking it serious. And the most disadvantage is that if you take it and the people around you don't take it, the possibility of you getting infected is high.
Okay, so from all of this, the conclusions that you are for the compulsory...
Let's come up with something. That's will teach all of us to take it because it's for our own good.
Okay.
We can't spend money to bring these vaccines down here and then look for it to be expired.
Okay.
And then throw it away and lose money that we could have used it to do other infrastructure, other things that would have benefited us.
Okay.
We are at a center of a world that we can't exempt ourselves. Now, I think for you to travel outside the country, it's going to be, if you don't have a vaccinated card to other countries, you'll be allowed to enter. Even Ghana, we are also coming, I don't know whether we have it, but we are at a point that if you have not vaccinated and you don't have an approved, a certified card, entering here.
That was implemented 2 days ago. You can't leave, you can't come in without being fully vaccinated.
So for me, where we have gotten to, because we don't know the next waves that will come. We might have the 5th and 6th, and we don't know the deadly one that will sweep all of us out. And so we need to protect ourselves.
Okay. Edward.
So, quick one. First, to contemplate compulsory vaccination will have to be backed by law. I do know that if you look at our Public Health Act, the Minister of Health has the power to introduce an executive instrument on some of these things. But in doing that, first he has to be able, there are 3 conditions. He has to demonstrate that one, that the current pandemic or the current condition that his basis for which he's trying to protect has the potential to cause loss of life. 2, he must also demonstrate that actually lives are being lost. And 3, he must also demonstrate that if that measure is not implemented, more lives will be lost. So there are 3 conditions under which we do. The truth of the matter is that these things can be tested in our law courts as to that as against the Constitution, the right of individuals to those things. So it's an area that will have to be contemplated. I, as an individual, have always been for vaccines. I recall just a week or 2 ago, my daughter, because the Ghana Health Service had indicated that from 15 years and
you can get vaccinated.
And she's in Akosombo. So the school sent me a mail saying that they needed my permission,
consent to get vaccinated.
Without thinking twice, I did it. I gave the consent. Then later on, I drew the mother's attention to the fact, look, Yenma's school sent me this, and I gave the consent. He said, Eddie, why would you do that? And I said, why wouldn't I do that? Because she has it at the back of her mind, this is a small girl, she can fight it. And this is a girl who, got contracted. Akosombo had this outbreak.
Yes.
He contracted the disease. She's asthmatic. And so it makes sense that at least she's
vaccinated. Yeah.
And my basic principle is that, look, people have all theories and other things they bring there. There's 6 killer diseases that kids are subjected to make those injections they are supposed to take. Have we ever sat down to ask ourselves, what are the components of it? We do that on the basis of faith, that these things will work over a period of time.
Yeah.
We go and we say we have malaria and they give us medications. Do we actually know the constituent elements that come together to give us these things? Not. So on the basis of that particular thinking, I think that, look, let's see how we can encourage a lot of people to go in for it. That being said, I think the government itself has not been very straightforward with us when it comes to the whole issue of this. You recall that when I was talking about the fact that the Omicron, what they call it, variant was found in the Southern Africa, and Ghanaians were tested there. And it's because our investments in, for example, in sequencing, to know what type of variants we have, we are not doing that.
Yeah.
That's the first point. 2, Per the government's own plan, they had indicated by October this year, we're supposed to have vaccinated at least 18 million people. As we speak now, the number that has been is around 3 million, 3 million thereabout that we have vaccinated. The reason is because government itself is not committed towards procurement of these vaccines, apart from those that are given to us as freebies. The one that they attempted procuring, you know, the Sputnik V vaccine, the whole brouhaha, that, as I speak to you, is one of the actions, because remember that when the investigations was done and everything was done, and then there was a move to
get the money back.
To get the money back, and particularly to sanction, what they call it, the health minister. It was adjourned. It is a move that the minority will be contemplating going forward. So that is one area. And so if you look at our...
We have about 30 seconds.
Yes, so if you look, but basically, just the point I'm telling you, if you look at our whole attitude towards, what do you call it? Vaccination. It seems it is just a platform for defrauding Ghanaians. Defrauding Ghanaians. And there's evidence, if there was time, I'd have told you why I think that this is a fraud, it's a sham, and government is actually milking into private pockets using the name of COVID-19. That is what I can say.
Okay, I mean, we'll definitely have you back on.
My dear sister, I disagree with my brother.
Okay, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I thought 30 seconds was mine.
Yeah, I gave you 30 seconds, but your final words, he has to be able to,
you can't just make a public statement by saying that it's a platform for government to make...
33 million. You have just taken
covered funds. You haven't given any scientific basis of...
I'm giving you 33 million.
30 million.
You're using it for conferences on COVID. What conference is that?
What conference?
Okay, we're getting quite used to ending the session like this.
How can you come and sit here on the subject matter? You just drive from...
And John Abam Sani, MP for Impoho. Of course, we'll bring you more of what's going on in Parliament tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. So not to worry about that. Coming up next, we speak to the Narcotics Control Commission as they are moving to rid the country of illicit drugs ahead of this Christmas season. Don't go anywhere. It's still the AM show.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Well, this morning, welcome back, first of all. This is still the AM show. And this morning, we're having a conversation with the Narcotics Control Commission. Because apparently, because of COVID-19 and also ahead of the Christmas celebrations, a lot of people tend to use drugs a little bit more. I guess to combat issues like boredom, maybe wanting to explore more, looking for a certain high, you know, all the reasons why people abuse drugs. But this morning we're going to have a conversation on that, and also to bring some, you know, front of mind awareness to the fact that we have to look after our children, especially around, you know, times like this, and make sure that our family members are okay. You know, your brother's keeper, so making sure that the person next to you is all right, they're not abusing drugs, because I suspect that it's actually more prevalent than we suspect. But having that conversation with me this morning is David Ajay. He's the head of the Greater Accra Regional Office for the Narcotic Control Commission. Good morning and welcome. So I noticed that it's now called the Narcotic Control Commission as opposed to the Narcotics Control Board.
That's right.
What has brought about this change?
Good. Thank you. The PNDC Law 236 established the Narcotics Control Board as far back as 1991. As time went on, it was realized that the terrain is changing, and therefore the commission or the board needed some changes as well to expand its mandate. So in 2020, just last year, Parliament passed an act to make it a commission, giving it more authorities or more powers to expand its role in prevention of the production and abuse of narcotic drugs.
Okay.
So the commission was established just last year.
Okay, does that change or does that trickle down to a change in your mandates and what you're able to do as a team?
Not a drastic change,
okay.
Rather adding more responsibilities.
More responsibility,
yeah.
Okay. All right, so I mean, it's almost a bit random, you know, on a Thursday morning to be talking about drug abuse. But I'm sure that there must be a reason, you know, why we've chosen this time to highlight, you know, the issues that are coming up with drug abuse. Do you want to tell us what's going on?
Thank you very much. Drug abuse, not trying to define it, but to explain what it means. Anything that you take into the human body without the intention of curing any disease, specifically or precisely without any medical intention, non-medical reasons, then you are abusing that drug.
Okay.
And people do that mostly for pleasure. Being youth or children or adults, just for pleasure. And it has a lot of devastating consequences. And that is why we have to talk about it. Because during festivities like the Christmas and most celebrations, that is where people try just anything to feel high, to feel happy, to have the pleasure that they want.
Yeah.
And these are mostly the drugs that are called narcotic drugs or psychotropic drugs.
Okay, what are some of these drugs?
Some of these drugs, are the common ones are marijuana, which is referred to as weed. It has a lot of street names in our country.
Of course.
Yeah. Then we have cocaine. Of course, we don't produce cocaine in Ghana, but it is brought into our country by people who want to make money out of it, and then because of its psychological properties or effects,
that it has,
people go for them, take them or smoke or sniff them to get the high that they want. Then we have heroin. Heroin comes in so many forms, just like the cocaine. In addition to that, it has been found out that our youth also have the tendency of trying so many chemicals just to feel high. Common things like the super glue, the carpenter's glue, petroleum products, they just inhale them just to feel high. All those things are some of the psychotropic or mind-altering drugs that we have in our system. But the major and the problematic one that we have is the weed, because it is very common almost everywhere, every region in Ghana, it is there. So people get access to it easily or easier, and the abuse of that one is very, very pathetic.
Okay, but why is drug abuse a problem? Because, I mean, somebody may argue that, you know, if I'm sitting in my house and I decide that I want to, you know, let's say smoke 5 rolls of weed, or I want to drink, you know, some weed tea or something, it's nobody's business.
Yes.
So I mean, why is drug abuse a problem, really?
Good. In the first place, the abuser, the one abusing the drug, will have a very devastating consequences of the drug that he's using. Any of the drugs that we've mentioned have very serious health effects.
Okay.
When it happens, the family is affected, the society is affected, the nation as a whole is affected. The family, the person becomes a burden on the family. Sometimes most of them become recalcitrants. Some become thieves, pickpockets, armed robbers, just to get the means to buy the drugs to continue their drug habits. Then they become nuisance to the society. The government has to find money to rehabilitate such persons. The government have to find money to employ officers to go around to prevent the use, the production, and all that.
Okay.
So the consequences, especially on the health of the one abusing it, is very devastating.
And then obviously it then becomes a weight on the healthcare system.
Exactly.
You know, and then obviously we also have those who are walking around on the streets who have kind of tipped the scales.
Increasing the number there.
Exactly.
And it also reduces productivity, because very often if a worker is on drugs, the productivity of that person is always reducing. But the employer has to pay for his services or her services. The government has to pay for his services or her services. All those things create the problem, the general problem for the society as a whole.
Okay. So, I mean, when does it move from abuse to addiction?
Good. As somebody tries these drugs, it will go on. Sometimes, even the first time that somebody tries it, it takes over the whole system of the person, depend upon the personal constraints of the person, the blood and the size of the person, the age of the person. People who are below the ages of 18 are more vulnerable to drug addiction. So if such a person tries any drug, the possibility of becoming addicted is very high.
Okay.
The reason is this: any narcotic drug, when enters the body, it goes through the blood to the brain. It affects the functions of the brain. And as it goes on, there will be a time that the drug will assume the natural functions of the brain. And shortly, the effect of the drug will fade out. Then the person will feel like getting more of the drug before he will feel his living.
But at that point, you need more of the drug to feel the same way.
Exactly.
If you started with a small amount, the next time you need a higher amount, you need a higher amount.
Exactly.
And then it spirals out of control.
Yeah. So when it gets to that point, we say that you become addicted because the person feels without the drug, he cannot.
They can.
So he becomes dependent on the drug.
Yeah.
The drug controls his life.
Yeah.
Everything that he does. Even sometimes, food will not be a problem for the person. The person wakes up, all that he wants is get the drug.
The drug, so that,
high.
Wow. That sounds like a really sad life to live. You know, to wake up in the morning and you just want drugs and you can't function. And
yes, it is like, people also get addicted to alcohol.
Yeah.
And it has been found out that when some take alcohol, especially our local appetizer drink, the previous evening or the night, when he wakes up in the morning and drinks just water, it recharges him.
Wow.
Yeah, the local appetizer.
Yeah.
It is just like cocaine.
Wow.
But cocaine and weed and heroin that we are talking about are even more addictive. People can get addicted to such drugs even more than the appetizer. Yeah.
I mean, so we talk about abuse, we talk about addiction, and then you kind of wonder, you know, where these drugs come from. How do people get access to it? What's the drug trafficking state, you know, that we're in at the moment?
I have already mentioned that for we, it is planted here in Ghana, everywhere. But heroin and cocaine are not produced, not even in Africa. So far, we've not heard of the planting of these things in a country in Africa. The heroin is produced in the Southern Asian countries where they grow the what they call the poppy plants.
The poppy plant,
It's a plant from which they extract the juice and then
is that not the same plant that gives us morphine? Or gives us some of, you know,
that is it.
Okay.
Yes, that same plant. So it is out of that they get the heroin products. Cocaine is mostly from South American countries that we call the Latin American countries like Peru, Ecuador, and the such countries. Yeah. And it's also from a plant called the coca bush plant. They harvest all the leaves, dry them, mix them with even the ordinary cement that we have here, petroleum products like gasoline. They add soda. Through some chemical means, they produce the cocaine. And people go all the way to such countries, bring them to our country here. Mostly, they don't target here as the main market, but European countries. But as they use our country as a transit point, some will, by all means, remain here, and then people get them and use them. So that is a trafficking. For the we have people who plant them on their farms. We have people who go to the farms and buy them, send them to the market or their clients who use them. But if you take a place like Accra here, it's all over the place. You go to some drinking spot thinking that they sell only...
no, they sell all kinds of things.
Yeah, they have their customers. Even people who sell local drinks like Pito and Sobolo, it has been discovered that they have their customers that they do the concoction for. People will go and sit round table, and then they will be served with that special Sobolo or that special local drink. So that is the trafficking situation in the country. On our part, we've been doing very well for many years now that the foreign ones, it's becoming more difficult for them to bring. The major problem now is the one that is produced in our country, the weed. It is all over the place. Even in Accra, where you don't expect anybody to have farms, it is likely that somebody may have
small
a
patches,
backyard where, and then there is a situation, there is a technology where it is produced even in the room or even in the kitchen. We've not discovered any yet in Accra, but it is possible. Because if you look at the way people are complaining, our own survey shows that it is all over the place. You
wonder where
it is coming from. Yeah, so one can suspect that maybe somebody might have discovered that technology, producing it indoors. That is the danger that we are facing now.
Wow. Okay, it's a lot of information. So just before I let you go, I mean, what advice do you have for us heading into, Christmas, heading into, or still dealing with, COVID-19 and our children are home, and all of that? What advice do you have for us?
Thank you very much. My first advice will go to parents. The schools have been protective factors to the children as far as drug abuse is concerned, because in the school that you go, the teachers and management of schools are always concerned with the children's
welfare.
Drug. So they control the children. We also go to the schools, have education, sensitize them on that. But when they come home, as they are coming for this Christmas, there are most homes that parental control is almost absent. The children are left on their own to do anything, and peer pressure leads them to try anything like drugs. So by the end of the day or during the holidays period, many children are introduced to this drug. Another danger that we've discovered, we are still looking for the source, is that now people are producing marijuana toffees, which is very attractive to children. And because children are more vulnerable to drug addiction, any attempt to introduce them to these toffees means that more children are going to be addicted You see them walking, but they are living with this disorder, addiction disorder. So parents should be more concerned about their children, where they go, when they go out, the kind of friends that they move with, what they do at what time, so that we'll be able to control them not to go into drugs, especially this festivity time.
Okay.
If parents, they themselves are using drugs, they should make sure that they don't transfer it to the children. Some parents take it for fun, that they are drinking and their children are also drinking with them.
Yeah.
Or smoking, they are on drugs and they feel that it is okay to let the children also have a feel of it. It is dangerous to the children. So, these Christmas festivities where children are coming home, parents should be more concerned and make sure that they take care of their children, prevent them from entering into or introducing themselves to drugs. Anything that will lead to drug abuse, parents should make sure that they actually help their children to stay out of them.
Okay.
It is also the concern of everybody. So, if you know or you see somebody trading in some of these drugs, let us show that concern. Give the information to the law enforcement officers so that that person will be dealt with to prevent the trafficking, the spread of the drugs in our society, to save our youth and the whole society from the abuse of drugs.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, David. Thank you so much.
So thank you for the opportunity.
And I hope that you've learned something. You're going to stay safe, stay out of trouble this Christmas, and watch over the kids as well so that they're fine. Thank you very much once again. Okay, so Star Ghana Foundation, in collaboration with Joy News under the Partnership Beyond Aid project, is bringing you the 2022 budgets for health and education services delivery in a COVID-19 pandemic era forum. This will be live at the Golden Tulip Hotel today at 9:30 a.m. The keynote address will be delivered by Professor Haruna Isahaku, Associate Professor of Applied Economics and Finance at the University of Development Studies. The panelists include Professor Naneku Anyedoho, Director for the Center of Social Policy Studies, University of Ghana; Kofi Asari, Executive Director, Africa Education Watch; William Kwetu, past Chairman, Parliamentary Select Committee on Education; Eric Asibe, Associate Professor and Dean of International Programs Office, University of Ghana; Harriet Ajeman, Programs Officer, Send Ghana. You can follow the live discussions on the Joy News channel 421 on DSTV, 144 on GoTV, or on your digital TV, myjoyonline.com, and all Joy News and Star Ghana Foundation social media platforms. We love you to actively participate, and we'd love to hear your comments as well. The 2022 budget promoting equitable financing. Okay, so for the best Ghanaian experience this holiday season, look no further than Taste of Ghana. It's a unique festival that will showcase and celebrate all the amazing elements of Ghanaian culture. So come and enjoy local dishes and beverages, fashion shows, drama, poetry, fine arts, artifacts, and good music. Taste of Ghana comes off on Monday, the 27th of December 2021 at the forecourt of the State House from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's absolutely free, but the dress code, though, is strictly African print. Please note that all COVID-19 protocols will be observed. Taste of Ghana is brought to you by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Ghana Tourism Authority, the Guba Enterprise, Beyond the Return, and Ghana Exports Promotion Authority. Taste of Ghana, our language, our identity, our pride. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but also remember that the second session of the Multimedia Group and Ghana Health Service, Ayawaso Central Vaccination Campaign, will be starting today at the Joy FM premises here in Kokomleme. Now, this exercise will be starting from 10 a.m. each day. So come along with your vaccination card so that you can assist us with the type of vaccine to administer to you. Save your life and that of others.